Okay, good morning or afternoon, wherever you happen to be watching this from. Pardon me, my name's Tom Pollock. I'm the founder of a company called GovReady, and we're going to spend the next half an hour or so trying to sort of give you some more insight and understanding around what small businesses need to do in order to firstly get themselves ready for government and attractive for government, and then engage and win government contracts and compete against bigger businesses for those government contracts. So, who am I? As I said, Tom Pollock. I've got about 20 years experience now working and running small to medium-sized businesses, and a lot of experience unpacking government and government procurement and understanding what it is that government want in their partners and how small businesses can engage and compete with government contracts. I always, since I was a young boy, wanted to be a published author. I was very proud. I don't know whether it was a midlife crisis or something, but got to my early 40s and wanted to write a book that would help small businesses. Whether you know it or not, if you're a small business watching this, 44 cents in every dollar that your business makes stays in your local community. So I wanted to write a book which would help small businesses, which would then directly impact in a positive way, their own local communities as well. So I put all of my government understanding of how government buys and what they look for, and got my book published called Winning Government Business: The 6 Rules and 6 Rules and 9 Absolutes for Small to Medium Businesses. Very proud of that book. I'm also the founder of GovReady, and I think before we kick off, I might give you a bit of an understanding of what GovReady does. So the reason, I guess, why we exist, essentially our niche, the space we specialize in, is helping small and medium-sized businesses to basically diversify into government revenue, government contracts. It is a maze. It can be disconcerting. It can be off-putting. It took me back in the early 2000s a long time before we got our first government contract. The GovReady exists to make sure that our clients are ready, firstly ready for government. They seem to be a ready and attractive partner for government, and then how to engage with government and really provide that cookie crumb strategy, that cookie crumb trail directly into government contracts across all levels of government, both local, state, and federal. And what we essentially do is we deliver government engagement plans, customized GEPs, which again, they outline that clear path to government revenue. All right, now let's kick off into the good stuff. The huge government opportunity. You're watching this, I can only assume that you have a desire or at least an interest in either winning more government contracts or winning your first government contract. And there is a big opportunity here for small businesses. It really is a huge opportunity now, and that's largely due to COVID. I'm going to focus a bit on this presentation. I can't cover off all the states because we're only going to go for about half an hour here. So I'm just going to focus on Queensland, which is essentially our backyard. Queensland state government procure, depending on who you talk to, give or take $20 billion every year in goods and services. And you name it, they purchase it. One we saw a couple of months ago, they needed $2.2 million worth of shark bait. Hairdressers, graphic design, water pressure cleaners, boat ramps cleaners, manufacturers, building construction, you name the product or service, each level of government purchases them. It's usually some particular stage. Between 2019 and 2023, $83 billion worth of goods and services have been procured by government and to 80,000 suppliers, and 80% of those, a lot of eights here, were Queensland businesses. So there's a really, really big opportunity there. When the Olympics were announced a few years ago now, Treasury forecast that state government will be procuring goods and services in excess of $180 billion. I think that personally is probably going to grow to in excess of 200 billion. So then again, we're talking a very, very large opportunity for the SME sector. And then we throw in the feds there. Again, depending on who you talk to, 75 billion spend every year. And then in your local governments as well, let's not forget our councils. Just an example here, City of Moreton Bay, any contract that they go out to market with, which is less than $50,000, they must look for small businesses first. And this is an awesome initiative by City of Moreton Bay. A number of other councils have similar programs in place, but City of Moreton Bay is certainly close to my heart. They have a very, very strong focus on supporting their local suppliers. So that should give you a bit of an overview of a bit of the lay of the land. I want to tell you about a couple of myths. There's a number of myths around which sort of preventing a lot of small businesses from putting their hand up and bidding for government contracts. There's a lot of them. I don't have time to go through them all today. Feel free to give me a call or reach out to me and I can go through them all with you. It's going to take a couple here. The big business loves smaller businesses to believe these myths because it means less competition for them, right? So this myth here, we're just not big enough. It is an absolute fallacy. The average state government contract is $60,000. I dare say that most small businesses who are actually watching this presentation now, you are able to service a contract which is $60,000 or less. So don't let businesses lead you to believe, or big business make you believe that you don't have the capabilities to service state government, federal government, or local government, because their average purchases are very, very reasonable for small businesses to fulfill. Another myth that big business loves small businesses to believe, my business just can't compete against bigger and more established government suppliers. Again, absolute fallacy. When COVID hit, Queensland government, a number of governments actually worldwide did similar things. I love what Queensland government did. They announced that 30%. They knew that the small business sector was being absolutely hammered during COVID. So they announced that the smaller businesses, they must procure 30% of their spend with the smaller business sector. To do the math, they purchase around 20 billion a year. This is just state government. So you're looking at around about $6 billion there slated for smaller businesses. The problem is, though, there's actually not enough smaller businesses who are putting their hand up and saying, yep, we're good to go. We're ready to, we are ready to fulfill government contracts. We are capable. And that is a bit of an issue, that the government need more smaller businesses actually bidding for these contracts. To illustrate that a bit more detail, I love and I hate this slide. All right, so very quick summary here. This is a number of this table's basically lists a number of opportunities. The first column you'll see is the problem that the government has gone out to market for. The second column is the problem that they had. So what exactly were they asking businesses to solve for them? Then we look at the value of the contract, and then the last two columns there, you'll see the size of the business and who won those contracts. And just to give, we'll unpack one of them. Well, firstly, this one, the Department of Energy and Public Works, they went out cleaning services. They had pressure cleaning services. It was actually here in Southeast Queensland. Value of the contract was $52,000, which is a pretty good contract, right? Look at this fourth column. This is the one that really annoys me. This is how many businesses actually took the time to make a submission to win this contract. Just 2. For a $52,000 contract. And this is not uncommon. So don't let big businesses make you sort of believe that you're a small business. It's far too competitive. You're never going to win these contracts, because quite frankly, some of these contracts, there was one we heard about last week where they were looking for some data analysis done. They went out, they specifically picked 4 companies who were on a panel arrangement and invited these 4 companies to tender. and only one of them made a submission. So have a look at this second bottom one. This one really kills me. Queensland Law Society, a new microsite, essentially a small website, $26,000 in value. One submission made for that. I don't know how many web design houses there are in, let's say, Queensland. I dare say hundreds. And look who won it, a New South Wales business. The only one who bothered to send a submission through. $26,000 for a website. Pretty good price too for a website. So hopefully that gives you a bit of an understanding of the opportunity there for businesses to bid for government contracts. And let's take a few minutes here to give you a bit of insight into a few things that you can do to improve your chances. Small business bonus points. We made the mistake back in the day where on the front page of the tender it would say, "Are you a small business? Tick yes or no." I said, "Don't tick yes because they'll think we're too risky." Da 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 da. Or we always tick no. It wasn't until a few years later that I found out that we were doing ourselves out of 5 to 10% weighting in our favour before we even bid, before they even read the submission. So government trying to level the playing field now. There's a lot more bonus points when you are actually making submissions now. For example, if you're a female majority owned business, tick that box. If you're a First Nations business, tick that box. If you're a regional business, tick that box. If you're a small business, that's the big one, tick that box. So if you tick a few of those boxes and you qualify, you can receive anywhere up to around 30% weighting in your favour before you even bid. Just be very, very aware of that. Evidence is key. When you're doing your submissions for government, you need to be able to back up what you're saying with evidence. And it could be, anything. It could be video testimonials. It could be references. It could be actual testimonials from clients. We had a client who one day came to us and there was a tender out and they wanted to, the tender was basically, I don't know the technicalities of I'm not in building construction, but essentially they were putting big roofs onto buildings. And the client came to us and said there was a contract out they wanted to bid for. And we said, "Have you done any work with them before?" This was Department of Health. And they said, yeah, about 5 years ago, we did a job. And I said, "How'd it go?" "Went great, under budget, fantastic." I said, "Have you got any evidence about this? Do you have anything the client said about it? Or did you have any way that you could show evidence around that particular piece of work you did?" And the client said, "No, they didn't." Evidence is really important. It's just words on paper if you can't back it up with evidence. So be aware. Start today. Jobs you do, take some photos, get some testimonials, and we'll unpack a few more of those shortly. That sort of flows on to third-party endorsements. Supplier awards are really, really cool. The Lord Mayor's Business Excellence Awards are awesome. Testimonials from clients, video testimonials from clients. These are all other people saying good things about your business, all right? And they do hold a lot of weight when government are looking for partners and providers. This one shocked me. 60% of tender responses don't conform, and there's a number of different ways that tenders don't conform or tender responses don't conform. I'll just give you one really blatant example, right? Let's say you're doing a tender submission and it says in 300 words or less, tell us about your business. And let's say you do 350 words. Well, that's a non-conforming tender right away. Government want to make sure that they're comparing apples to apples and everyone has a level playing field. So why should that business have 350 words when everyone else stuck to the 300? Cross your T's, dot your I's when you're doing your tender responses, because 6 out of 10 don't conform, which means they don't qualify, and a lot of the time they're not even going to get read. Prioritize your criteria. So they'll actually spell it out for you. And a lot of the tenders there for government, they'll say, look, 30% of the weighting of this is going to be on management experience, and 20% is going to be on price, and 30% is going to be on this. Be sure that you don't focus too heavily. We've had some clients who there's like some pieces of criteria worth 5%, and they've done like 50 pages to align with that or to respond to that small piece of criteria. Not necessary. Keep it simple, keep it succinct. So really prioritize that criteria. Engaging with government the right way is extremely important. Government put on a lot of networking events. I really encourage all of our clients and whoever's watching this to pick one or two a month if you can. Attend. There will be events that you'll walk away from going, oh, Tom, there's 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. But there's other events that you'll go to where you'll meet some really awesome decision makers or influencers. You'll find some opportunities. You'll get a bit of more of a lay of the land about that department. So there's a number of resources available to you. Reach out, and we can help you out with how to find some of these events and things when they do pop up. The 3% rule: never sell to government. Never, ever, ever sell to government. Why? Because everyone else is, and it's just white noise to government decision makers. They only need your product or service around about 3% of the time. So why would you spend all your time, or businesses spend all their time trying to sell to government decision makers? They need to know you exist. They need to know the problem you solve, these decision makers and influencers, but they do not need to be sold to. Be different from everyone else. Do never sell to them, and you will be remembered a lot more than those who are just trying to hawk their goods or services. And just be aware as well, a lot of business owners, smaller business owners, think that all government opportunities are released via the state platforms or federal platforms. For example, in Queensland, it's Q tenders, or which is now transitioning to vendor panel, or for the federal government, it's OS tenders. Fact is that only 15% of government opportunities are released on those platforms. Panel arrangements and business as usual are two other massive areas that most smaller businesses aren't aware of, that government buyers certainly buy from extremely frequently. What is a government panel? Basically, it's a pre-qualified panel. These panels open and close, and usually are refreshed, sometimes mid-term. But they make it simple and easier for government to buy from you because you have been pre-qualified. Builds your credibility and profile amongst government buyers, gives you access to a lot more opportunities, and there is less competition when you're on a panel as well, usually. Your website is extremely important. If you don't have a website, you need one. Surprisingly, it's still about 25% of Australian small businesses don't have a website. What do we want on there? There's a number of things when government buyers hit your website they're going to look for. Can't go through them all now, but I'm going to give you a bit of a taste, I guess. Love to see awards and testimonials. Again, those third-party endorsements. Make your site, make sure it's clean, simple, and easy to navigate, and update it. Some clients haven't updated their site in a few years, and you can just tell that these are very old sites. So every 12 months, definitely we want to look at a refresh of your site. Corporate social responsibility, or ESG. There's a lot of different acronyms now, but how is your business giving back to the wider community? Government buyers now are increasingly looking for businesses who are not just in it for themselves. So what is your social governance? How do you make your community or make the world a better place? Basic example is we sponsor the local footy team. That's 101, lowest level. There are very good ways that smaller businesses now can make a huge impact and give back in meaningful ways. Again, reach out if you want some ideas around that. Quality assurance is always something that government look for in businesses as well. ISO is the big one. Not, for smaller opportunities, you don't need ISO, but you all have a quality assurance model in place. But a lot of the time for small businesses, it's just in your head. Get that out of your head, document it. Basically, if something goes wrong, what do we do? How do we assure quality in your business? Your impact and how you're giving back to the community, again, is increasingly being looked upon very favorably by government buyers. Here's a few reasons why tenders lose. I'll quickly move through these because we're running out of time. Firstly, don't answer all the questions. If you don't answer all the questions, probably you're going to be a non-conforming tender response, and you won't even be assessed. None or not enough evidence. This is a big one. We get this from government buyers all the time. Tell us how frustrated they are with clients who can't actually back up what they're saying in their tender responses. So evidence is key. A lot of the time too, businesses focus on sort of what you do and not how it actually benefits the client or how it actually solves the problem. But don't get caught up in that when you're making submissions to government. We really want to focus on the problem and how you can solve it. A lot of businesses will focus on price and not actually value for money. So back in the 80s and 90s, government, they were just pretty much looking for the cheapest price. Now, not so. They're looking for the whole value for money piece around their purchases. This is really, really important. And if you lose, you get that, and we got this back in the day. If you lose a submission or you're not successful, ask for a debrief. Debrief is basically where you can sit them down, arrange a meeting with them, whether it's virtual or face to face, and they can give the government buyers can actually give you some insight around where you were strong, where you were weak, where were possibly some areas you can improve. These debriefs, not enough businesses do them. Government aren't always going to tell you about these debriefs, right? Because it takes up time and effort, et cetera, et cetera. But certainly ask for that debrief. And if you do ask for it 2 weeks out before the meeting, you want to send them a list of questions that you want to ask, because quite often the person you're going to meet in a debrief may not actually be involved in that buying process. So definitely send those questions to them a couple of weeks prior. There's about 4 or 5 questions that we give all of our clients when they attend a debrief. Reach out to us. Happy to share those with you when your next debrief pops up. If you look, there's already a lot of businesses, probably potentially yours, as you're watching this, your business is actually already, there's a potentially it is ready for government supply. There's 6 main areas that government look for in their suppliers. And we've developed a tool called the Pulse Check. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for you to complete, answer the 22 questions as best you can. And then you'll get a report at the end of that outlining how you went across those 6 areas, where you're strong, where you're weak, and possibly some areas that you might want to look into tightening up. We use the Pulse Check for every single one of our clients who comes to us looking for a government engagement plan. This is our starting point. This gives us a snapshot of the business, which allows us then to dig deeper and unpack those 6 areas and exactly lay out that path for businesses, those businesses to accelerate into government contracts. Here's a few resources for you, which certainly should be current for the not too distant future. That registration page there for the 2032 Olympics, it takes about 5 minutes to fill out. Fill that out. Do that right now, or maybe after this presentation. It's a 5-minute job. You'll receive, there's a lot of business already being purchased for the Olympics. There's a lot more over the next 5 years leading up to the Olympics. And that once you register here, you'll be notified of Olympic procurement opportunities. State government, few tenders currently. It is evolving over to vendor panel. Federal government, you've got Oz tenders, and that's the URL. And then local government, you've got local buy arrangements, and that will take you to some local council procurement pages with local buy. And then this, again, sorry, the link to the Pulse Check, as you can see, which we already just spoke about in the previous slide. And then there's obviously GovReady's, our homepage as well. A lot of good resources on our website. Also check out the customer testimonials. A lot of our customers send through videos about how we've helped and what we've done for them. And you can see those at govready.com.au as well. If you'd like a free copy of my book, I know I've only had about 25 minutes here. I haven't been able to really scratch the surface. It's hopefully given you a bit of an understanding of the overview of government buying, some of the opportunity and some methods which are going to help you when you're bidding for contracts. Because if you'd like, you can download a free copy of my book. That would be cool if you read that. It's basically everything that we did wrong back in the day when we were spending a lot of time devoted to getting ready and then finding and winning government contracts. Really big thanks to you for listening. It's been really cool. You've given me maybe 25 minutes of your time. You probably got some questions. I know this is a recorded session. If you've got any questions, feel free to email them through or give us a call. You want to catch up for a coffee or a Teams chat? if your business has a desire, what we look for in our clients is businesses who have a true, genuine desire to evolve or get into or diversify their business into government contracts. Because if the desire is there, we build the plan, we build that cookie crumb trail, and we build and we give our clients that clear, defined strategy in order to firstly get ready for government contracts. And remember, there is no point really in bidding for government contracts unless you are ready. There's a number of things, that a lot of the different things that make that up, and essentially that's where our government engagement plans fill, or the void they fill. Email, call, you've got those details there. That's my mobile number as well. Give us a call. Love to hear from you. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. I hope you've at least been able to take one or two things away from this presentation, and wish you all the best into the future. And hopefully you are successful with getting into some government contracts. Thank you. Goodbye.